And I want you to share it with others. Don't be selfish, because I want to talk to you about shifting your focus and managing your mind and the thoughts that you have. Because when we wake up in the morning, advertisers are competing for the real estate of our minds. And what we have to do is begin to be proactive in programming ourselves rather than allowing ourselves to be programmed by the world. That's why we're told, be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you agree with me, I want you to put yes in the comment section. Just put yes. Make a brother feel good. and something else. See, there are things that's going to happen just beyond our reach. And it's important that you be okay with that. That's God's business. You do what you can do, handling your business and those things that you can handle, and those things that's beyond you, you have to let go or be dragged. Because there's a lot of stuff, this thing called life where we are, we've never been here before. I feel like Mother Teresa, she said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. So I want to share some thoughts with you. People ask me, what do you do during tough times? How do you handle it? Well, they asked the right person. As I speak to you, I have this trophy here from Cancer Centers of America. It is a trophy that you don't want. It's called the Cancer Center Perseverance Award. Perseverance. I'm a 29-year, 4th stage prostate cancer conqueror. All right, so you don't want that award. Some awards you want, some awards you don't want. But I'm glad to get the award because I'm still here. So the question becomes, how do you do that? How do you keep a positive mindset in the face of a prognosis that say you're on the way out? How do you deal with that? Well, number one, what's very important is to understand this, that at any given time, we have the power to choose. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. We have the power to choose to focus on the things that are not what we want them to be, or focus on what we can do to create the things that we want in our lives. See, because at the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. So I deliberately, when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful. I say, I'm great and grateful. I'm still here. There are a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning. They're taking a dirt nap. Hello? So I'm grateful. I'm not in pain. You can hear my voice. I can still serve. At 77, I can still make an impact, all right? So what you have to do is face this. Every day is not going to be a good day, but there's some good in every day. So here's my challenge to you. Look for the good. I ain't playing with you. I'm coming for you right now. Look for the good because it's here. And then just take the time to savor it. What most people do, and this is crucial, they leave their minds open like a universal garbage can and taking in stuff and information that they can't do anything about. I support the Ukrainians without any question. I pray for them. I support them. I will contribute to anything to help people who are being displaced. But I will not watch the news on that. It's too negative. I'm not going to inundate my mind with stuff that does not build me up. You remember that song, Don't Let Nobody Bring Me No Bad News. if you can identify with what I'm saying up in here. My brother, I was talking to him the other day, my twin brother, and I can hear him cranking up to give me some bad news. I said, hold just a minute. I paused for a minute. I said, you know what? I'm going to circle back with you. And so he thought I hung up, and I heard him say in the background, he's not going to call me back. He's right. No, I don't want to hear that. He's about to tell me some problem about somebody. I don't know that person. Why do I need that in my mind? I remember a story about a very brilliant man. We all have heard his name, Albert Einstein, and he was asked for his phone number. And he went to a payphone booth and went into the telephone booth and opened up a telephone book. And they said, wait a minute, you Einstein, you don't know your phone number? He said, I don't keep information in my mind that's not usable to me. I don't call myself. Why should I put some stuff in my mind about things I can't do anything about other than saying, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. But I will take some things in that inspire me, things that encourage people that I can use in my presentations. I tell speakers, and I train speakers, and some of you out there, I want you to listen to me, and I'm going to give you a strategy on how to become a powerful global voice of transformation. You got to be a good listener. I listen for stories that encourage, that motivate, that inspire. There's a story in the internet of a little 8-year-old Ukrainian girl who went up to a soldier who had all of his gear and his rifle and everything he needs to kill somebody. And this little girl, unarmed, but all she had was her fist, and she went up and she punched him. Now, of course, she didn't cause any damage, but she was striking a blow for give me liberty or give me death. I know you can kill me. I know you don't value my life. I know y'all just blew up a hospital with children in there. I know that, but we're fighting for our freedom here. And all I got is this right here, and I'm gonna come up there, I'm gonna punch you with everything I got. Now that's inspiring. I wanna hear those kind of stories. Tell me stories that I can share, that can lift people's spirits, that can encourage people. Because see, at the end of the day, we don't know how strong we are until we have to be strong. You don't know enough about yourself to be a wimp. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You are more than a conqueror. And when you just be with that, I'm more than a conqueror. I'm made in the likeness and image of God. It doesn't get any better than that. I've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. These are not just words to be read, but to be lived from. People say, practice what you preach. No, preach what you practice. Sometimes you have to get an attitude with yourself and begin to realize we're more blessed than we give ourselves credit for being, and we must focus on that. When I get up in the morning, I have a gratitude list. I have things that I write down that I'm grateful for, that you can hear me, that I can see. I got my nephew, James, he went stone blind. My twin brother's son, blind at 38. I'm grateful that I have the ability to see and to hear, and that I can pick up my body weight. There was a period of time I was being rolled around in a wheelchair because of sciatica pain and the pain from the little C, cancer. So there's going to always be some stuff. Viktor Frankl, he talks about it in Man's Search for Meaning. He said, you either in a problem, or you just left one, or you headed toward one. Therefore, take unto you the whole armor of God. What is that armor? Faith. And faith not tested can't be trusted. Perseverance, You're going to go through some stuff. Lady, she had a car accident and her neck was broken. She said, my neck was broken, but my neck didn't break me. Although she's a quadriplegic, she's still living a productive life. She's not somewhere feeling sorry for herself. The other thing is, you got to watch who you talk to. I have a friend named Ed Foreman who just passed a few weeks ago. And it's the first seminar that I went to. Ed had something that he did, and at first I didn't get it. Ed will never ask you, how you doing? I said, Ed, why don't you ask how people are feeling? He said, because they might tell you. He said, no. He said, I just tell him, you're doing great. You look better this time than the last time I saw you. He said, I compliment him. I find something good to say because people want to tell somebody about what they're dealing with, but you want to call forth those things that be not as though they were. Do you believe that? Are you down with that? Do you understand what I'm sharing with you right now? It's a part of what we have been told, and it's something that we don't want to just hear it, but to live from that place, to stand in that place of power. I believe that we're here for a reason. And all this stuff that's happening, that God is in the midst of it. But therefore, take unto you the whole armor that we've got to stand up inside ourselves and face it head on, called life. And sometimes I have to get an attitude with myself because sometimes things get to me. Got a son who's bipolar schizophrenic. And I had to realize, hey, that's his trip. He doesn't want to take his medication. He's 38 years old. That's beyond me. That's him and God. They got to work that thing out. I'm not going to stress myself out about some stuff that I can't control. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot control, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. See, it's easy to say those nice little words when you don't have any pain in your body and your bills are paid, and you're not facing foreclosure, or your relationship is working out fine and your children act like they have good sense. It's easy to say those things. But when life knocks, when life challenges you, that's when you have to pull and call on the whole armor. That's when you have to be able to understand, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Oh boy, this thing called life. I saw something with some actors they were talking about. Had they learned when they were younger that whatever you're going through right now, if it's bad, if it's painful, if it's tragic, guess what? This too shall pass. And whatever you're going through right now, if it's a celebration, you're happy, you are joyful, things are going great, you feel good in your body, you're physically capable to doing whatever you want to do, your relationship is working out fine, this too shall pass. What do you mean? Life is a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go well, sometimes they don't go so well. And we have the power to be an observer and not buy into it and decide, wait a minute, I'm gonna find some good in this. I'm gonna wrestle with this angel until I find my blessing up in here. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, peace of mind, for your relationship, for your health, once you stop fighting for what you want, a good night's sleep, a relationship that's where you love each other and care about each other and got each other's back. Once you are unwilling to fight for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. I ain't playing with you. I'm telling you what I know. You have something special And even if you don't believe me, I don't care. I'm going to say it until I get through to you. Why? Because that's my mission. I believe live your life the way you want to leave your life. And that's what I'm doing. My goal is to leave my life inspiring you, encouraging you, lifting spirits, reminding you of the greatness that you have in you, reminding you that you are a treasure, you are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. Oh, behave. Hello. So having said those words, I want you to know, Tyrone and I, my little squirrel friend, you have something special. You have greatness in you. Bye for now.
Les Brown is in the house, the School of Greatness, my friend who has been around for 75 years young, who you told me just before we got on here. You've been fighting cancer for 27 years. You've been widely known as one of the most inspirational, motivational speakers in the world, helping Fortune 500 companies to small business owners to everyone in between really tap into their greatness. You're an inspiration to myself and so many people. And you've got a book called You've Got to Be Hungry that's out right now that is doing incredibly well, and it's 20 years in the making. And I'm curious, we've been talking just before this, which we'll add in the interview, about racial injustice, which you've been a big proponent of speaking out against for many years, and your time working in Ohio, in government, and your time working in radio, as a speaker, as all these different areas of your life. But you've just been through a lot personally of challenges in your life. From, we have a similar story of growing up dyslexic with learning disabilities, with challenges in school. I remember the story you shared in our last interview in 2017 about, teachers just calling you dumb and things like this. I feel very connected to that story because of my experiences in school. And yet you've overcome so many challenges in your 75 young years. Can you share the biggest challenge you've had to overcome?
The biggest challenge I had to overcome, and it's a continuous challenge, is allowing myself to see myself beyond my circumstances and mental conditioning, to live out of my imagination rather than my history. When you are raised in a culture that constantly demean you, marginalize you, and stifle your potential to move forward. I remember reading a quote by a guy named Richard Wright, who said, "The impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experiences of life." So just imagine in 1963, when I graduated from high school, now that's a long time ago. my grandson said, "Grandpa, how old are you?" And I said, 75. He said, "You are old." In 1963, here's what the statistics were in 1963. That if you're an African American, you're the last hire and the first fire. If you're an African American, that a white college trained black person has less of a chance of getting a job than a white high school dropout. That's in 1963. According to the Federal Reserve, that still exists. So just imagine when an African American graduates from college and in debt, that a white high school dropout today will earn more money, 3 times more money than that black college graduate. 3 times more, all right? Why? Because of this paint job. I'll never forget, Louis, I saw an interview with Larry King, and this white supremacist was being interviewed, and he said, "Tell me, why do you hate black people?" He said, "Because they're black." So, and he said, "And?" He said, "And I'm white." So Larry said, "What did you have to do with that?" And this white supremacist said, "What?" He said, "What did you have to do with your being born white?" And he didn't have an answer. He just got quiet.
And Larry, in that question, that strategic question, it created an aha moment, hopefully, for that young man. I saw this video yesterday. This lady said, I've got grandchildren. I hate y'all, and I'm teaching my grandchildren to hate you too.
Wow.
Yes, and I'll never forget when I was on a bus coming back from Miami Beach with my mother, and they had signs on Miami Beach that said, Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed. And so I asked my mother, I said, Mama, why do they hate us so much? And she said, Leslie, I don't know, but don't you ever be like them. Don't you ever be like them. God is love. And he who dwelleth in love dwelleth in God and God in them. You love people regardless of how they treat you. That grabbed me because when she could have very easily, because of experiences that she'd had, it taught me to be hateful, because hatred is taught. It's people not born with that. And a little boy asked me, a second grader, what do you mean by you gotta be hungry? I said, the greatness within the win. I said, when the average person start out in life, they don't realize the odds are stacked against them. And you have got to call on everything in you to get ahead. I said, how old are you? He said, 7. I said, when I was 5 years old, I was downtown Miami, and it was like 95 degrees. And I ran to a water fountain. I was with my mother. The neighbor said, Mamie, we can watch the other 6, but you're gonna have to take Leslie with you because he's a little touched in the head. So they didn't want to keep me. So I let my mother's dress go. We went downtown with her. We would hold her dress because she would walk real fast. And I ran up to this water fountain, Louis, and I started drinking water from it. And my mother said, don't you ever do that again. Grabbed me by the neck. And I talk about this in the book. And she started punching me and in the face and the head. And I was shocked. I said, Mama. She had this crazed look in her eyes. I said, it's me, it's me, Mama. And all of a sudden, a white police officer came by and he said, okay, he had a billy club in his hand. You can stop beating that little boy now. I won't have to beat him. And he looked at me as I was crying and just laughed.
Wow.
As he walked away. And my mother, she grabbed me and I was crying and she said, Leslie, I'm so sorry. But when I saw the redness in his face and how he had his billy club out and he was coming to beat you with it, she said, I had to do something to distract him. She said, because had he hit you with that billy club, he would have had to kill me.
Oh
and
my
I'd
gosh.
left you and your brothers and sisters to fend for yourselves. You have no relatives. And at that moment, 5, I knew that there was 2 worlds. I was in a world where I was limited, where I could, what water fountain I could drink from. When we got on the bus, there would be seats up front, and there would be a yellow line, and there were standing room in the back where Black people were seated, and Mama would say, keep moving. I said, Mama, there are seats up here. Did you hear me say, keep moving, keep moving? So when you are in that kind of environment where you are judged based upon nothing other than the color of your skin, that's very humiliating. I had another experience that that really tilted the scale for me being the person that I am. And because I love my mother, I'm a mama's boy. I always say this is the Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. and so I was determined that I was going to create a world that my mother could live in and not be humiliated and to not be held back, and a better life than she had lived in Stewart, Florida, and what I experienced coming up in Miami, being African American. There were so many things. It was just a part of the culture, things that exist now. But to believe and understand that it's going on now. It's surprising, but what is heartwarming is the broad scale support. Something Benjamin Franklin said. He said, change will never come about until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are.
Wow.
Okay? And so you have white people who are unaffected by this, but they're outraged. They're saying, hey, this is not right. And they're putting themselves in harm's way. I saw one white lady, they shot her with rubber bullets and she lost that. She's permanently blind in one eye. And so there have been places where the white turnout and other groups are very strong, of people out of a sense of humanity saying this is not America. And it's been sustained because the people can see it. And to see George Floyd have his life taken away. The guy who did that, one of the guys who was in right there near him, where he could have said to the cop that was on George Floyd, come on, man, come on. He said he can't breathe. Come on, it's four of us. He's handcuffed. He can't get away from us. Come on, get your knee off his neck. He didn't do this. So this lady saw one of the guys in the grocery store who was charged with complicity. And she said, do you have any regrets? He said, no.
Wow.
No. So therefore, he thought it was okay to take this guy's life for a $20 counterfeit bill that they found not to be counterfeit. So to lose your life, and someone say, when you are asked, do you have any regrets? And you say, no. Man, let me tell you something, that's heavy. That says a lot.
Yeah. Do you feel like we haven't really progressed that much at all? Or is there progress?
No, I think there's been great progress. There's no question about that. No question. You just have people who, this is for the first time under this leadership that we have, that feel comfortable coming out. So there are people that this level of hatred has been instilled and passed on generation after generation after generation. What makes it seem so pervasive and so dominant has been the exposure. It's never been exposed like this. The internet, that's why North Korea and various dictatorships don't allow media to have the right to expose things, the inequities and the unlawful behavior in their country, including our country. Had it not been for the internet, we would not know about this, because the television executives had a meeting after the Rodney King riots and say, when something like this happens again, we will not show it. Wow. We will just report it. Okay, but the internet, because of the telephones, now these cops have been getting away with murder. They can't just get away with it. Although even when they go to court, 93.9% get off, never go to court. And of those who are indicted, maybe around 2% are sentenced and found guilty, because the judge and the prosecuting attorney is on the side of that officer. So
well, I feel like they can always make a case, I guess, for, well, he was attacking me and this is in the law on how we can defend ourselves as police, right?
When they asked the cops, why did you beat this guy that I said, this man served our country in Vietnam. He should not be treated like that. He was holding a baby. And they said he was fighting with one hand. And okay, come on. When I was on the air, and this is in the 80s, I editorialized against police brutality and deadly use of force. They said he had a threatening stance, so I shot him. One guy I'll never forget, he was in a car and police approached the car and they shot him 5 times. And they said he held his hand up even though he didn't see a gun, but he moved his finger and he thought that he had a gun, and so they killed him and they got off with it. So they come up with any type of flimsy excuse. I thought my life was in danger, like the guy here in Atlanta was shot 5 times in the back, and they said they thought he was going to turn around and shoot with a taser. And the truth of the matter is that cop was mad because his taser was taken away from him. So he pumped 5 bullets in him. So no, there will not be a trial here. This is taking place now. And so that level of madness and lack of value for human life, it's deep in the culture, but
How did you personally,
that we live about.
Yeah, and how did you personally overcome so much from racism as a young child when your mother essentially had to beat the crap out of you in order to defend you from the police beating you up even more, to not being able to sit anywhere on the bus that you wanted to go on, to just having the challenges at school, to your career? How did you personally learn the skills to overcome so many challenges in the world, in your internal mind and world, and in life?
The title of the book, You've Got to Be Hungry, the greatness within to win. Greatness comes out of adversity. And the defining moment for me was when my mother was working for a lady named Miss Harris. I was responsible for cleaning some spots off the floor. My mother was called by Miss Harris. She said, Mamie, I want you to go in another room and find a hat that I'm looking for, the one I had 3 Sundays ago. And when my mother went in that room, I heard a slapping sound. I heard my mother clapping her hands. And I said, Mama, I was curious. I said, why are you clapping your hands? She said, don't you worry, Leslie. You just keep on doing what you're doing and get those spots up off the floor. Then she came out of the room and she said, Miss Harris, I don't see it in there. So she said, well, go in this other room. And Mama went in the other room, and sure enough, she started clapping her hands again. And I said, Mama. She said, what? She was aggravated now. I said, why are you clapping your hands? She said, didn't I tell you to do what you're supposed to do? But at that moment, Miss Harris came over and she stood over me. She said, I can tell you why she's clapping her hands. And I stood up and I looked in the eyes. Now, during this time, as a Black person, you were not allowed to look white people in the eyes. You should always look down, okay? Or you could be arrested or beaten. So I looked her in the eyes, and she said, the reason that I have your mother clapping her hands, when I have colored people working for me and I can't see them when they go in another room, I make them clap their hands to make sure they're not stealing.
Oh my goodness.
I said, ma'am, I said, Miss Harris, let me tell you something. My mother does not steal. When she talk about you and your family, she say, I work for Miss Harris, and she talk about our children, and she knows all your children's names and their birthday. My mother is an honest person. She'll never steal from you or anybody. And she was so shocked that she just looked at me and she just turned and walked out of the room. And when I got back down on that floor, Lewis, and started scrubbing that floor, I said, nobody will never make my mother clap her hands again because they think that she's will be stealing. I remember going back on the bus and I was quiet, and she said, Leslie, why are you so quiet? I said, because I'm not a man. I want to be a man. She said, you'll be a man soon enough. You're 10 years old. How long before I become a man? 8 years. I want to become a man now. She said, why? I said, if I was a man now, Mama, I can buy groceries for us. Listen, Mama, and we won't have to wait till the people you work for eat and then give us leftovers. If I was a man now, I would not have to wait until somebody's worn clothes for a year and we wear their hand-me-down clothes. And if I was a man now, nobody will ever make you clap your hands because they think that you're stealing. She said, Miss Harris told you that, didn't she? I said, yes, ma'am. That's why I want to be a man now. She just got quiet. She said, Leslie, don't worry about it. Just be a good boy. Be a good boy. And I said, I will, Mama. I'm going to take care of you. You'll never have to work again when I turn 18. When I turned 18, I took care of my mother until she passed at 89. She never paid another bill. I worked. Yeah, that tilted the scales.
That experience, that moment.
Yes, that to make her, she was such a wonderful person, only had a third grade education. And I always say I'm on programs, I said, because of two women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. So she was quite a woman. Yes, she was. I'm a mama's boy, as you can detect.
Yeah.
You have greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And you, in order to break out of where you are now, it takes everything in you. Everything. You have got to decide, no, I want to do something else. No, find something that you love, not just anything. Find something you love. I love speaking. I love helping people. This is the calling on my life. And I spent time to learn. When you are not willing to learn, you got to go get a job and keep it as long as you can until they let you go, until you are replaced by artificial intelligence. The coronavirus is not the only thing that's eliminating jobs, or until your company closed down because of the effects of the coronavirus and because of the decisions of you can't gather but a limited number of people in a certain given area. That's too precarious. That's too unpredictable. It's better to have something else going for you and not need it than to need it and not have it. No, don't wait for the hammer to drop. Why, Les? Because you can't think. You can't think. When you get fired, you can't think right away. When you get behind on your bills, you can't think right away. If you get 3 months behind your bills, trust me on this, know this, been there, bought the t-shirt. It takes more than 3 months to catch up. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you what I know. When you don't have money, you don't get 31 days out of the month or 30 days. You get 2 weeks out of the month. What do you mean? Let me repeat. When you owe money and you don't have enough money coming in, you don't get 30 days out of the month. What happened to the 30 days? Well, you get 2 weeks. Well, what happened to those other 2 weeks? They're gone. You start saying, didn't I just pay this yesterday? I know I just paid this yesterday. I'm telling you, time moves by faster when you're under pressure, when you're under the gun. That's why you have to be proactive. I want you to put voice in the comment section, if you agree with me, if you understand what I'm saying, if you can feel me in your heart, if you don't want to live life cringing and, oh my God, I got knots in my stomach. I don't want to open up my email. I don't want to receive a text saying that my job has been replaced and sent overseas, or they have eliminated my division, or I've been laid off because of the coronavirus. It's the time to be inspired and motivated, to be your own boss, to create your own business, to use your ideas and your thinking. You are more talented than you give yourself credit for being. People say necessity. Necessity is the mother of creation. No. Refusing to accept things as they are is the mother of creation. Refusing to put yourself in a vulnerable position where somebody else is controlling your destiny. Refusing to be a part of the journey of the broke. Refusing to be lazy and ignorant of your potential and not having the courage to bet on you. Refusing to recognize the reality that you're made in the likeness and image of God and been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Refusing to acknowledge that you're more than a conqueror, that you can do all you can do and God will do what you can't do. No, that's not you. You're listening to me. Everything I'm saying is common sense, but not common practice. I've been stuck. I know what it feels like. The things I should do, I don't do, and the things I shouldn't do, I do. I know if I had my life to live over again, I could have done more than what I have done thus far. For a long period of my life, if I had to characterize it, I was crazy with a K. With a K. I'm not proud. I'm telling you. Maybe something wrong with me now with this flat top from the 80s. You know what? The afro is the only hair that defies gravity. Everybody else's hair lays down on their head, but the afro, I mean, to have a flat top, come on now, with no glue, no super glue to make it stand up. Oh, behave, hello, whatever. To do something that you love. If you enjoy making people feel good, if you enjoy working with kids, if you enjoy helping people learn how to create a bridge from where they are and to the next greatest version of themselves, if you want to do something that gives your life a feeling of significance, of purpose and meaning, of love, of joy, that you look forward to doing it. You know how many people are stressed out now? Listen, even our children, it's affecting them, the little teeny weenies. It's affecting them. I saw this movie. It's a jaw dropper. It's called, what's it, Social, oh my goodness, it escapes me right now. Social something, it's on Netflix. Just Google it. Then somebody knows. But the social dilemma. You watch that, it will scare you. That's why it's important that you work on you to improve you. We're being programmed over 5,000 advertising hits on our minds every day. And when you look at the algorithms and our telephone and the computer and all the various platforms that are designed to suck us in and to control our behavior, to manipulate us, occupying our minds every day, fighting for territory in our minds every day. This is a different space. This is a different space. You want to be vigilant. Be you not conformed to this world. Be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. You want to unplug from this thing called life. You don't want to be conformed like everybody else, listening to what everybody else listens to. You monitor your thinking. You monitor. Be proactive in programming your mind, because if you don't program it, trust me on this, it will be programmed. Live life like you mean it. It will be programmed. One sickness, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what I'm talking about. I resigned from the Ohio legislature. I just got reelected my third term to go back to Miami to take care of the woman who God took me out of my biological mother's womb, but placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. Mrs. Mamie Brown. Oh, she covered the ground she walked on.
That's what the lady from hospice said when she took her last breath, as I held her hand. And what I learned about my mother, the spirit of independence, of believing in yourself. I learned that from her. And she wanted to raise children. She never had any children herself, but she said, I want to share my life with children. And a reporter asked her, this is after I got a show called The Les Brown Show with King World. They paid me $5 million to do. They asked her, how did you know you can raise 7 children by yourself? She said, I just believe the Lord will make a way somehow. Les, I don't know how to do what you do, so I didn't either. You've done a lot of things that you didn't know how you would do it. There's a reason we're told to walk by faith and not by sight. People say, well, if I see it, I believe it. No, if you believe it, you see it. Live out of your imagination. Live out of your imagination. Don't judge according to appearances. You have the potential to do more. That's why they say greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. What do you mean by that? You do what you can do to the best of your ability. And God, I know this to be true, will do what you can. Angels will be dispatched to serve you. Doors will be opened that you did not see. But you mess with me. Don't argue for your limitations because you get to keep them. I'm telling you what I know. You want to get fired up about your new future. You want to turn that television off and get moving in the direction of the next greatest version of yourself, because you have greatness in you, and you cannot tap into that greatness operating within your comfort zone. When you're willing to bet on you, when you're willing to become a risk taker, this God said, if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Hello? You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. Not living a stress-filled life. You can't be happy when you're filled with anxiety. Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. No! You want to be focused on creating the next greatest version of you. No, hearing my Father glorified that ye bear much fruit. You are here to do the greater work. No! This is not it for you. This is a new beginning for you. You were born to be happy and successful and prosperous and healthy. You were born for that. And you have to have a spirit of optimism. You have to have a kind of energy that says, it's not over until I win. Watch you want to get motivated? Oh, I'm just so tired. Yeah, whatever. You've done things where you say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. You weren't. You did what you can do. You got into position and God did what you could not do. If you feel me in your heart. If you're ready to do something that you love. If you're ready to use your story and the things that you've gone through and the things that you've overcome and to help people and to make money too. And if you're ready to get your hustle on, nothing works until you work. They told me, oh, Les, you'll never be successful being a motivational speaker. There are over 3,000 members of the National Speakers Association. There are not 3,000 Les Browns. You think I care anything about that? You think I give a fat rat's butt about that? Oh, there are 3,000 members of the National Speakers Association. Well, guess what? None of them Mamie Brown's baby boy. None of them have a flat top like House Party, Kid and Play and I'm Kid. Oh, behave. It's not true because I said it, but I said it because it's true. Oh, behave, baby. You make me angry. Woo! I have so much fun. It's great to be me. If you love having fun, listen, get around the right people. If you love having fun, get coaching and direction by someone who's doing what it is you want to do and has accomplished a great deal and has a program to teach you how to do it, to shorten your learning curve. Spend more time working to improve yourself. Spend more time working on yourself than your job.
And today it's going to be focused on mindset. See, at the end of the day, if you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand. Well, what we're going to do is help people to change what I call the private voice, that subconscious mind that has been given to us by the world, and how to begin to overcome that negative thinking that's caused most of us to sabotage ourselves unconsciously. It's going to be a day focused on that, beginning to restructure the thinking and give people a vision of themselves beyond their circumstances and mental conditions. I'm excited about this experience and what we're going to provide, and we're going to be keeping you informed as the day progresses.